Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. Thank you very much, Mr. Ducksworth. Welcome, you guys. My name is Dan C. This is Nick over here, and we're going to talk about some wild stuff today. We might talk about some controversial topics today. We might even get cracker nasty on you today. Who knows? The Wheel of Tangents will be making an appearance. We have some submitted by you guys and you guys only. We got a picture to show you. We got a bunch of stuff. Before I get ahead of myself, this is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. In this show, every Tuesday, 113 episodes in a row, is the Doctor's Orders live stream, where we talk about whatever the heck you guys want to. We answer any questions. We talk about what's going on behind the scenes of this company and the people. And we're pretty confident you guys have a pretty cool understanding of this company now. And it's not as much about showing you the products and all that. It's more about getting to know you guys. Yeah, that'll definitely be a topic there too. And on today, I'm the co-host. This is the co-host over here today. Super short and sweet intro because I feel like at the end of the show, I'm always like, I want more topics. So I want to get right to it. But this is the man that spends on average 2.5 minutes to eat lunch. His name is Nick. Nick, how are you doing, sir?
I don't have time for extended lunches, dude. No. 2.5 minutes.
That's you even working people? If you're eating lunch, come on.
Dude, 2.5 minutes would be like an extended lunch. You know, that's like a long one.
You think I'm exaggerating, guys?
Right. Walking, sitting, moving, eating.
Yep, and shout out to Beanie Jill for bringing up the lunch for Nick, and so he can get in the 2.5 minutes to eat the lunch.
My hero, you know.
I was going to make a 2.5 minute joke, but we do try to keep this PG-13, so we'll leave that for another time after our show. That's later.
Real nice, nice.
Yeah. Sorry. I kind of censored, but then it came out, and so
yeah. You know, that's like saying you saw me. Yeah, of course he saw you. You were on camera. It's
not me.
Wide angle lens, woman.
Right.
Not saying you need a wide angle. It's because it catches and you were in okay. So we have today I had to use the restroom when we were leaving the store earlier, and here's Dan. And so I was like, and so we're like, okay, it was a bagel shop, and we're like, all right, well, you have to buy something if I'm going to go in there and use their restroom. Yeah. So we walked in, and it's one of those bagel places with like the chalkboard on the wall and the baskets full of stuff. And you're like, oh, these people don't mess around, actually.
Right.
So had zero plans of actually doing that. I was just going to grab like an iced tea, and which I did. But they had what was it called? A banana split bagel. And it was like bananas, peanut butter with strawberry. So sorry. It was, and they gave me the wrong one. It was supposed to have cream cheese and strawberry jelly, and this is peanut butter and bananas. But I mean, it's good. It's not at all what I ordered. This thing looked amazing. It sounded really good. It was like it was cream cheese, strawberry jelly with honey and bananas on a bagel, and I was like, oh, put that in me right away. And I'm glad I didn't see this until like I got on camera, because I didn't get to throw a hissy fit about how like I never, ever, ever get what I order from restaurants, like ever. Like This is like, it's like, okay, the right bagel. Like at least they put it on the right one, but it's like nowhere even close. It's like peanut butter and bananas. This thing, you can't eat this thing at all. Like you definitely can't eat this. Like if you tried to eat this and then talk on camera, like I'd be looking like I was a dog licking peanut butter out of my mouth for the next 35 minutes. So like, Nick doesn't get lunch today. And the reason for that is the reason it usually is that you don't get what you want in life. And that's just sometimes one of those facts that you need to deal with, that you're one of those people that might not ever get what you order.
Yep. Okay. I listen to a lot of like entrepreneur podcasts and just, people that are trying to advance their career in life. And I heard a guy just in this last week with that topic, and he said, somebody asked me if I send food back when it's not right or when it's cooked incorrectly. He said, I never have, never will. He goes, just quite simply, it's not worth my time. He said, I don't want to take another half an hour to wait for the food. I don't want to spend time explaining to this person, then wondering how they're going to judge me. He said, it's just not my time. If they do it a second time, I just don't come back again. And moved on from there. And I was like, that really helped me because I struggle with that too. And I'm like, you're right, man. My time is so valuable. It's not worth me sending that back. And I know others will disagree, and that's entirely fine. But I thought that was really interesting.
Situational for me. Like
right.
I have and I will for sure. But what I'm more apt to do is order a second thing and then just not touch the first thing and then explain it later when they ask me about it. Yeah. Like that usually works out pretty well. You know, if it comes out and it's god awful, you're just like, hey, how long would it take to get this out? And they're like, oh, we're like, quick, 5 minutes. Be like, cool, throw one of those in for me.
Yep.
And that's perfect. You're like, what was wrong with that one? And be like, oh, no, that one didn't work. You know, you need to take that one off. I'll take this one though. Thanks.
I do have to say, I enjoy thoroughly the way you say the third word that's on Moose's comment right there.
Bagel?
Yeah. You have a hard A. You say,
I have a hard A in that bagel. Yeah.
That's so. Where does that come from?
So probably from the same place that I got razzed out of saying this one. I used to say apricot instead of apricot.
Wow.
So wherever I got that is the same place I got bagel.
Because the thing that most of you know, but what's bagel?
Bagel. That's the same thing.
You say bagel.
No, I do not say bagel.
No, not quite.
There's bagel, and then there's like bagel. So it's like BEBA, and then like somebody. I don't know what the other one is. Like boggle. I don't know if there's a third one there or not.
There's just something. Your A like
bagel.
punches.
Oh, it's a hard A. It's like it's up there. It's like
punches.
Oh yeah, I put the emphasis on that syllable real freaking hard. Like it's like the one right in the middle.
And what's interesting for those of you that don't know, we mapped it out. Nick has lived in like 31 homes or something crazy like that. And
all over the damn place.
He has like Hawaiian influence, Florida influence, Boston influence. He's got like all this different like cornucopia of expressions that come together. So I don't ever know where the thing comes from. So it's so interesting to think about.
It's a nomadic accent, as I like to say.
Yeah.
And Jill, I would have no idea. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I'm glad Jill gets a 10 out of 10 would recommend out of this situation. And her stomach's probably not eating a hole through the hoodie that she's wearing in front of her right now. But, you know, Jill, I would love to find out, would love to find out, when we get home and like I can go to a refrigerator with one of the bagels we brought home and like put things on it that are edible. And then I'd be like, ooh, yeah, these bagels are really good.
Man, I don't know what it is, but these bagels.
What? Bagels.
What?
I don't know where it is. It's almost like Wisconsin, isn't it?
Yeah. Youper, Canadian-esque.
Youper, yeah. See, I've never lived in Wisconsin. I mean, I lived in Canada. But I've never, so like we lived in Missouri. So like maybe that's like a Midwest way to say bagel, but I don't say bars. Like I don't have coffee in bars.
Right.
I'm not like Minnesota.
Right. You're not water. Yeah.
No, and I don't drink water.
True.
Nope, I don't drink water. Nope, and I've never even had milk before, and I would never have it. No, I would never try milk because it sounds disgusting.
Yeah, that does sound gross. So does milk, though.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, I saw your eyes light up when you saw the comment from Warlock Beard Co., which we know is William, who's a friend of the channel, friend of the company, and you had a chance to be able to read this weekend, which was a blog all about the impact of Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff's health, or his health journey and what you, Jill, and your company have impacted him on. Any thoughts when you first saw that and read it?
I was blown away. I literally almost dropped my phone when I was telling Jill about it. I was like, did you read this blog post? I mean, dude, this thing's awesome, man. I mean, it's what I love hearing too, is that we're a facet of like a multi-dimensional transformation. You know what I mean? Not just, hey, no pun intended, multi-dimensional. That was like multifaceted.
Dude, but how are you coming in with the wide angle jokes, the multi-dimensional? Goodness gracious, Nick.
I've been watching my Kill Tony. I'm trying to harbor. I'm trying to like I'm trying to like, really, really, really harness my inner William Montgomery,
Yes.
like I want to be the vanilla gorilla. Like anything I can do to get closer to that guy, like I'm in there.
You succeeded.
Hey, I'm trying. But anyway, I love to hear that we're in a part of this journey for you. And that's, to me, honestly, the coolest part about this blog is how you tied it into like just a larger journey of self-care. And it's been like, talk about hyper relevant for us right now, right? For me, especially for Jill, selfishly, speaking, I guess, but so relevant because it's weird. It's almost like that anything can be the tip of the iceberg is kind of what I got from this, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you start, like caring about yourself. It's like it's contrast, right? You start caring about what one piece and you start caring about like the ingredients about something that you use or how something is made or something, right? And then all of a sudden, once you see that and you see the impact about like how changing that went, all of a sudden your brain starts looking at other things. It starts hunting around and it's like, wait a minute. Like if I'm caring about what I'm doing there, why aren't I caring about what I'm doing over here? Like doing this so well actually doesn't make sense if I'm not going to start doing this a little better because they kind of contradict each other unless they work in unison, right? And it's weird because it almost doesn't matter where you start. It's almost like just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the gym, whether it's with your hair, whether it's with your beard, I don't care if it's with your toenails. Like start caring about something, that has to do with your physical health and your mental health. And all of a sudden it starts just unraveling all the things around you where you're like, I could be doing these things a lot different. And it's not that much more effort, expensive, time, whatever the quantifying, commodity is that you need to spend in order to increase the quality of an experience. I mean, it kind of just all starts happening. It's weird, isn't it?
100%. And we actually have a topic submitted today by my guy Dave, and it is about and he sent like an explanation and clarified further, but it literally was submitted from somebody watching and said, can we talk about natural body wash and why you need it? And a lot of this stuff. So we'll save it to see if it pops up on the wheel. But yeah, shout out to Warlock. I know Nick was blown away by that.
Dude, thank you so much.
Something you just said is sparking another topic that I kind of wanted to go over. I wasn't sure, but then the universe just spoke to me and said, you have to. And you said, just start. So yeah. This will be kind of a couple topics rounded into one. As you guys know, I do this for a living. I do this for a career. I create content. I help beard stuff, all that kind of thing. And I don't know what the proper title is, but on Facebook, you have to put the title digital creator. On YouTube, I usually say like content creator. Now, kind of twofold, but the exact same relation here. On Sunday, I dropped my least fun video of the year, and I do mean that. I don't say this to like be humble or anything. Like I despise the video, but it's the top products of 2024, and it's my favorite beard products out there. And the one reason, there's a couple reasons I dislike it. One of the reasons is I have close friends that are company owners that I literally know and see once, twice a month that aren't on the list. Why? Because they have great company, they got great products, but maybe they just didn't crack the top 3 of the products that I crave and use on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. That sucks to a level most people probably can't understand.
That's rough, dude.
It is.
That's hard to do.
It sucks. When you have a platform, you have, I hate the word, but influence. And many people would say like, hey, like hook your friends up. And it's like, I have to stay genuine. I have to stay true to what it is, even if it is at the cost of personal expense. So that sucks. Not fun. The other part that sucks is no matter what I do, no matter who I pick, no matter how I set it up, no matter what I say, I'm going to get nastiness from the video. Mm-hmm. In the last 48 hours, I have received threats. Someone told me if they wanted to do real harm to me, they could. I've got it all screenshot. I've got everything. I've got company owners that comment and say things like, I wonder how many people on this list is paying Dan. And I responded back and let them know, well, I'm luckily very transparent, and every single company that's an affiliate's listed. Every company that's not an affiliate is listed. My affiliate relationships are the same with all companies. And I go on to explain in that situation that, and I still have a bigger point, the just start. Hold me on that one in a bit here.
Mhm.
But on that is, before Nick reached out for a review, like any other company owner in the history of my channel, I didn't know him. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know anything about his company. In the exact same way as the company that reached out for a review and then ended up suing me for $70,000. There's no difference of Nick and that owner. There's no difference of Nick and the owners that ghost me and smear my name and all this stuff. My relationships progress with the products that I enjoy and the companies I like working with. It's as simple as that. End of story. And so, like, company owners that aren't on the list, they get super offended, super sensitive about this stuff. And like, why aren't you highlighting these companies, that company? I said, guys, there's literally thousands of LLC beard companies that sell beard products in the US. It's impossible. I'm sure there's great ones out there. I know there's great ones out there that I haven't tried, but the opportunity is out there for everybody. I'm not going to get into an economics lesson and marketing and visibility and all that stuff, but that's baffling. And then the other comment that I love that always comes up on that video, always comes up in the messages, and people be like, don't give these people mine, don't pay them attention. I know. It's just, it happens every year, so you know it's coming, is, man, I should be a content creator and be an influencer and get all this stuff. And my angle that I do to them now, or I respond to them, I just simply say, start. Do it. I said, you're commenting from a Google account. You're commenting from a YouTube account, likely from a phone. You could literally become a digital content creator right now. Instead of typing that comment, start right now. If you believe that this side is so simple and it's so easy to get money and products and all this stuff, just start. Like, and I don't say that in like a you can't do it. Like, no, actually just start. Like, there's nothing that stops anybody. I was coaching full-time, teaching full-time, getting a second master's degree with young children while I started my YouTube channel. So anybody can. And so when you said just start, that like super resonated with me, because the fallout from that video is absolutely incredible, and nobody ever sees it because I don't highlight it, I don't post about it, I don't do any of that, but it just comes out like crazy, man. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It's so, that pisses me off so bad to hear it too, because it's just little mindsets, man. It's like, you know what I mean? There's nothing productive that comes from any of the negativity. I mean, to be fair too, I mean, there is productive ways, I think, that people could maybe have negative things to say, right? I mean, there's always something that someone's got out there, but it's like, yeah, I guess you got a point. Yeah. But it's like, but none of that just whining and just like, it all just screams like jealousy, not even jealousy even too, because sometimes people don't even want what they're putting you down for doing. It's just, you know what I mean? They're not, I don't know. It's compensation.
They're compensating in their mind for why they're not on the list, or why the company they fanboy over is not on the list. And they go through that. And it's like, if I'm so bad in your eyes, you absolutely have the option of not listening. Like, I don't make anybody click. You don't have to click. And so it's just so wild to me. And Moose says, I feel like everyone could use an economics lesson from Dan. It's, when you think about the companies that watch that video and say, their first thought is, I'm not on it. These companies Dan makes money off of, they're on it. Let me complain. Their future in any kind of business, industry, economics is non-existent. They will forever listen to a boss and forever will be told what to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they are business owners trying to, and they would criticize a company like Dr. Nick's, right? You guys are growing, you're doing this, doing that, when it's their ultimate dream, when that's all they want is to be able to have that business. And the ones that where their mind go to why the list is wrong is the company that will never make it. Yeah. Or the company that sees a list like that and says, either I don't give two craps what that list says, we're doing our dang thing and doing it. Heck yeah, right. You shouldn't. I didn't ask for your opinion. You didn't ask for mine. You shouldn't worry about it.
But if you're not going to care, don't care.
Right. Or say, what are they doing? What are, for example, right? They've come in the chat before. Actually, his baby the due date was 2 days ago. So Bryant, the owner of Dead Man's Beard Co., his wife is past due, but it's their first kid, so you never know when that thing's gonna holler on the doorbell.
Pull the handle, slot machine dates.
Yeah. About a year ago, he reached out for a review. Didn't know him any different than I didn't know you. I reviewed their products. 75% of the feedback was negative. I didn't like the labels because they weren't legal. I didn't like the scents because they weren't good. I didn't like the blend. I hated his website. It turned out that AI wrote it. Like all these things. And I just said them in the video. Like that's it.
Sure.
He said, all right, buckle up. Let's make some changes. Okay, keep telling me. Okay, okay. And changed and has improved all the way to being heavily featured on the list because I just use it and it's great. And he had the right approach. He could have said, screw Dan, that guy's a whack job, and then went off left, but he didn't. And now he's literally at the problem where he's like, I don't know what to do. I've ran out of space. I've ran out of time. I don't know how to hire the right, like he has good problems in front of him.
Problems. Yeah.
Very good problems.
About what you said there too. And people will be like, oh, okay. So you changed his product around until it was something that you like. Yes. And you know what? You're not doing a video talking about what I like. You're not doing a video talking about the stuff that someone else uses every day. You're talking about the stuff that you use every day. It's perspective and opinion. So yeah, if someone catered to your preferences and happened to make some changes and you weren't the only one that saw them as positive changes, well, guess what? You took feedback and you used it. It just so happened to be yours. So then, yeah, it's something that you use, obviously.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's just so crazy. The logic tree doesn't work with certain people.
And
that's the way it goes.
No matter what you do, it won't. You're not going to get through. And I will say, Leo says, I knew a woman, because I hate even touching on this because I know where people's minds go and like, don't let it affect you and stuff. And that's not what Leo's saying. But Leo says, I knew a woman who closed her internet business because bad comments overwhelmed the positive from customers. So for me, luckily, actually, Gary Gizzard in the chat right now is a content creator who does this and makes money. He responded to one of those negative Nellies that was like, oh, must be nice to be like a content creator. And he like broke it all down. So Gary, thanks for having my back, man. But I do not, if anybody gets to know me, I do not cower or quiver or go down to these bad comments. If anything, dude, put it right here. I am I'm the chip on the shoulder. I'm the fiery guy. I'm the underdog. When I coached, I made up stuff to my players to make us the underdog. Even when we were the favorite, I would be like, dude, they're talking crap about our pool. Like they're saying this. Like I had to make something. So for me, I love it. And I thoroughly know 99.9, and I don't use that as a figure of speech or being exaggerating. 99.9% of the feedback I get is overwhelmingly positive. I'm not going to let that little bit take over. And it's just because I'm bringing this up. You had said just start, and it's just such, we love to break down mindsets here. That's what Nick and I do. We love to think about how people think, why they think a certain way. And that is one that will never happen with me. If anything, it's going to make me stay longer. I've gone through some dark periods with the beard community and people doing this and that, where at one point somebody took a picture of my deck and they put price tags on like my Blackstone grill and my table, and they were showing how much money I had to make to be able to afford this deck and all the stuff on it. Like crazy stuff. Yeah, crazy. And it's like, I can't understand that concept of worrying about
bad.
Yeah, worrying about another man's
that closely.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And so, yeah, and I do take pride in this too. I know people are going to listen to my responses. I know people are going to read my replies, and I take those seriously. And Corey says, I love reading your replies on negative comments. I mix in equal parts sass, equal parts like helpful, positive intentions, and equal parts just like food for thought. And I like kind of weaving that course after you receive those negative comments.
Oh, you got to, man. And just let them do it, dude. Water off a duck's butt. You know 100%. What I mean? It's just, because they're sitting there saying that while they're like the song says, while they're growing older in the only town they'll ever see.
100%. And then you get the comments of like, oh, it's not a real job. It's not this. And it's like, luckily, I don't feel like I have to defend myself or prove myself or show myself. If you don't get it, you probably never will. And that's okay.
Yeah, and it's the Mark Twain thing. You're not going to argue with, sit there and argue with the fool and be confused when someone watches you do it, who the idiot is.
Right. That is an absolute fact. So, and it's the same with companies. Once, like I said, once companies start getting successful, the companies that aren't, they've got to compensate in their mind of why, and there must be something behind the scenes. You must be doing something nefarious, Nick. There has to be more to it.
Well, there's got to be. Yeah. The funny thing is too about those people. I heard a really good saying about someone, people with that mindset, and you can apply it to this.
Yeah.
Where they said, where like what the person said, don't even waste your time. He's not smart enough to be wrong. And it's like, oh God, don't even try talking to him. He's not smart enough to be wrong. You're never gonna, and it's just like, it is so right. Because if I think about the people I know, the more the smarter the people are that I know, the more often I hear those people, either ask a question to say they don't know something, or to say like, I could be wrong, but you know what I mean? Like those types of statements come out of them more because it's like they know so much about things. They realize how complex just about everything out there is. And you never want to assume you know things you don't, right?
Everyone's digging that. And for me, you and I both use this phrase often. And I know a lot of people haven't heard this phrase in their life before, but it is something to try, especially when you're genuine. It's impactful. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's wild what that can do when you have a conversation and Nick explains something, or where we have a thought like, okay, we got a situation here with marketing or customer service or whatever it is. And then somebody says something else, and then a third reply. And then you say,
no, you're right. Actually,
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when that's like, we Joe Biden ourselves right there. It's like, and guess what? And you know what else? And you know what? You're right.
yeah, you're right. And just leave it at that. So it just struck me when you said, just start, because it really is true.
Just start. Just shut up and do it. You know what I mean?
I think
let's just go.
A good example of that is Warlock Beard Co. He wrote an entire blog about how you and your company impacted him in a super positive way. You'll probably be remembered forever in his life and his family. And he says, man, I love what they're doing. Why don't I try it? Just start.
Just do it. Yeah. I love that. Gizzard Gary, that guy, he takes the negative pins, the negative comments, and pins them to the top of his feed.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Fantastic.
I don't delete any.
Yeah. Kill Tony did that for a long ass time too on all of his videos. He's like, just put all the negative ones right up at the top.
Yeah, that's Red Band. He reads every single comment.
He does.
Every comment.
Every single one.
That's insane.
And responds to most.
Another topic here. Speaking of pinning it, I'm going to share it once the timing is right, but I'm going to let you lead into this, Nick, however you would like. You have something new in your life. What's going on? And this might be controversial, you guys. So buckle up, open mind, and remember, you can use the phrase, you're right. No, just kidding. But Nick, what's new in your life?
Oh, it's so funny too, because I'm on both sides of this controversial topic, by the way. And that's the funniest part about it, I guess. So as many of you guys know, I got Tboned by a little old lady a couple months back. And I was driving my Grand Cherokee SRT. It was like my baby. It was beautiful, black Borla exhaust, sounded really nice, beautiful truck. And it was a total loss because of the amount of damage that was done. German suspension and lots of Brembo brakes and Bilstein suspension work needed to get done, and repairs got over like $36,000. It was crazy. Ooh. Repairs got nasty.
Yeah,
so totaled it. And so I don't drive super far anymore. The farthest I go is New Hampshire or New York. And so and if I go any further than those places, I usually rent like a Yukon or something, and like a Suburban, and we bring the dog, the kid, and all the luggage and all the crap, and that way I don't have to worry about putting thousands of miles on my own, vehicle.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I need something that's comfortable. I need something that's big. So I was looking at SUVs. I almost got an Escalade. I was looking at Escalades. I was looking at Tahoes. I'm looking at everything, and I'm just like really trying to figure out what would work. And so I've been following this one vehicle since before it came out. And I never thought I'd actually get one, and because it just didn't seem realistic, but it kind of all the stars aligned. It was I started watching the sneak peek videos back in 2020 when they first started putting out the videos for the all electric Hummer. And I'm like, man, when that thing comes out, I want one of those Hummers. And so I've been following it the whole time. I got the sneak peek videos. I was on the mailing lists. I had a deposit down on one at one point, and then they had scarcity issues and my waiting list got way too long and I canceled it. And then I was mad that I canceled it. And so finally I went full circle and I went back and I'm like, well, let me check out the 2025 versions of these things. Because the way I was thinking about it, I need something for the beach, which is right down the road from our house. I need something big so we can carry a bunch of beach stuff, like a grill and bins and stuff like that to go set up an easy up and pop up and sit out there with the truck for the day on the beach on the sand. And so, I don't want to take an Escalade out there to do that. But at the same time, I don't want to drive around in the city and do other stuff in a vehicle that could do that. And then I'm looking at Vermont, New Hampshire, and I'm like, well, I can pretty much get everywhere I go in a 300-mile charge. It starts to kind of make sense for an electric. And I'm like, I get all kinds of federal rebates from Massachusetts if I do that. Also, I have solar on my house and I get all kinds of crazy rebates if I have an EV charger attached to the solar and I feed my EV charger with the solar energy. Then I get rebates back from the grid for all that money that I spend there too. And then I'm like, oh God, they have corporate leasing programs. And I ended up looking at the whole thing and ended up running it through one of the businesses. And, the lease is because it's a lease, it's all tax deductible. And so I'm like, okay, tax deductible, no gas, free electricity for the damn thing. And it's big, it's cool. It can go everywhere I want. And it matches my K5 Blazer. It's like this, it's charcoal gray and gray with black. And it literally the two next to each other. It's like ultimate low-tech vehicle with no electronics, and then all the way high-tech vehicle with no engine. So it's like it's like the best of both worlds kind of for me. But I will say what got me is I was still very undecided, even though I've been watching it for years. And I'm like, and I didn't want to buy one yet because I don't think the batteries are quite to the point where I'd want to put the investment out there to own one, right? I think by the time this lease is up, solid state batteries will be in the Optimum platform, and the Optimum platform is what this thing has in it. So the motors will all still work, but the batteries will start getting better. And then once you got the 1,000-mile batteries, then maybe we'll start talking about, buying one. But I don't want to have to worry about these early on ones, which you don't with a lease, right? The battery, it's covered 100,000 miles. Like anything else in this thing that breaks, I don't care because I don't fix it. I bring it to the dealer, they give me a loaner, I come back and this thing's back to normal again and I don't pay a dime for it. So it's like people are like, holy shit, they're early on, this and that. Don't put it out there. They're not that reliable yet and all these sorts of things. And I'm like, I don't care. It's drive. And it's a riot to drive. It doesn't have a transmission. It doesn't have an engine. But it's got 600 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. But it weighs 9,000 pounds.
Wow. That's like my 31-foot travel trailer.
Dude, the thing is heavy. But what's crazy about it is, it feels like a slingshot when you drive it. You can make it make audible feedback. So it makes some electric motor noises, but they're all false. They're all generated noises. It's like human feedback noises that it'll give you.
Yeah.
And if you turn it off, the thing is dead silent.
Whoa.
All you hear is tires gripping the road. And all 4 tires all obviously turn at once. It's all-wheel drive, but they also all steer at once. So it's 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel steering.
Whoa.
So whenever you're on the dirt like I am there, and you turn the wheel all the way to the left, your back wheels pitch the opposite direction, and you damn near spin around in a circle when you turn around to turn that thing. So you can turn around this 9,000-pound vehicle in a parking lot with more ease than driving around in a little Subaru.
Wow.
It's it's nimble. You don't notice you're driving such a big. The hood on this thing is shoulder height on me.
Right.
And this is squatted down. So it raises up another 6 inches past that.
Jeez.
So you can get it to where the top of that hood line is right about ear level with me if I'm standing there.
And the big criticism of Hummers was that they were gas guzzlers. They were
Yeah.
like,
And this thing has one of the
guzzler.
better economics for battery life out there for EVs. It's got as long a range as like an Audi e-tron, and it's a 9,000 pound truck.
Yeah.
And it's tow capable. It has the Super Cruise in it where you can let it drive for you on the highway. That'll do like lane changes and all that, and maintain speed, move around traffic. It's got traffic jam assistance where if you get in stop and go traffic, you just turn it on and it does the stop and go traffic for you. It just stops and starts and goes and moves and drives. And like, you know, it's one of those things. I'm a technologist at heart,
right?
And so it made too much sense for me to. It made no sense at all for me to not at least try out the cutting edge of vehicles. I'm a car nut, and I'm a technologist, and this is like the most technically advanced car. It's a spaceship. I mean,
right?
It's not a car. It feels like you're driving a spaceship, especially with the 1 foot driving thing. You can enable it on the you can make it drive like a normal car where you have a gas pedal, you let off, you coast, you hit the brake. But you can do 1 foot driving where you don't need your brakes. It just uses the drag of the electric motors. And so you put the accelerator on, you let off, and it slows down. It puts your brake lights on for you, and you can let off all the way, and it brings you to a complete stop. And the whole time you've used you're not generating any wear on your brakes, and you're actually regenerating electricity.
I have a golf cart that does that. And people be like, well, how do you stop? If you let go of that gas, it's going to stop immediately. Even more effective than traditional brakes.
Dude, they are. It's way stronger. So I drove around for like over 100 miles today, and I did it all with no brake pedal.
That's so cool.
It was so weird. It was like, it was crazy. Oh, and I see that. Thank goodness he didn't get a Cybertruck. No. Even being the tech nut that I am, I can't look past the hideousness of those vehicles. I just can't.
So
I just can't do it. I just can't jump on anything Tesla bandwagon, unfortunately, just because of the way they do stuff.
Yeah. So we talked about earlier me receiving threats for my opinions. This one is probably borderlining on that territory. I don't dislike the Cybertruck. We have like three in our town, and I don't dislike them. I actually don't get the hate. I mean, I know anything electric politics is going to be woven in. I know anything Elon politics is going to be woven in. I get all that. I get it. I'm not talking about the grid. I'm not talking about California by 2035 and all that crap. I watched, there's a YouTube channel. I think it's called like Whistle and Diesel. Young dude.
Oh, I love that guy so much.
So good.
That's the first guy I ever subscribed to on YouTube was Whistle and Diesel.
So he put the Ford F-150 versus a Cybertruck in so many like different ways and challenges. It depends on what you want a truck for. If you want a truck to last through an apocalypse, get a Ford F-150 for sure. But in most
not EMP friendly with the lithium batteries, no.
Right? But what most other categories had, whether it was tow power, whether it was getting over obstacles, whether it was so many other things, they simply won with the Cybertruck in almost every way. Power, speed, like so many different facets. Now the Ford did beat in other ways, and Jill said it looks like a Porygon. Now, I am a big Porygon fan and Porygon Pokemon character, but I don't hate them. I do like being different. I'm sure it's the same part of my brain that loves walking into a business meeting with 40 people with suits and shaven, and then I have a t-shirt and a big beard. I like being different. I like being the guy that has a live stream for work at 1:00 during the day when other people are miserable in their cubicle punching numbers. I like being that dude. And I think the Cybertruck in many ways kind of symbolizes that.
Oh, dude, this thing does too. And that's one of the things that I loved about it. It's not a normal vehicle.
I like that.
Oh, I love it. And down to the point where like, because it's dead silent, legally they have to make some sort of noise when they back up. That's why like the Rivian Amazon things have like that weird little sound when they back up.
Yeah.
So like, when you're watching like a sci-fi movie or like something in space and like something goes wrong and they got like the alarm sound in the spaceship and it's like, ooh, like one of those. it's a really quiet, like humming version of that comes out of the rear axle whenever you put the thing in reverse. So it's like a little audible on the outside.
Interesting.
And at first I'm like, is it making spaceship noises? Like, it's making spaceship noises. Like
the
so
EV
cool.
noise, like just the general like driving one, is very interesting, right?
It's
You're in a
eerie.
parking lot and you hear it and you know it, but you're like,
kind of.
yeah, like where it, like what it, oh yeah, electric vehicle, got it. Like
the whole top of the thing comes off too. So like the whole top comes off in 4 panels, and they're transparent during the day. But when the top comes off, there's no window frame. So instead of like a Jeep where you got like the square around and the top open, when you roll the windows down, there's no window frame, and then there's no frame going across the top. So it's like an old school, almost like a Gen 1 Bronco, where like it's all the way open air except for the roll bar in the middle.
Wow.
It's pretty neat. And then get this, the panels that come off the top, guess where you store them?
I don't know.
In the frunk.
Oh my God. Because there's no motor.
Because there's no engine. You open up the front and there's these storage bags, and you put the panels in it and you stack them up and strap them down inside the front and close the top. And then you have the whole roof with you instead of having to store it in your garage, because it's got its own garage.
Wow.
You do need 8 feet, 4 inches of width to clear your garage doors to pull it inside, however. That's interesting.
Amber brings up an interesting thing from her husband, Kevin. Kevin got the side conversations in a waiting room today about people talking about disliking beards and mustaches. I get that from time to time as well. And it's like, you literally want to yell, I can hear you.
I'm like, right here.
Are you dumb? Like, I don't get people. And like, who cares? Like, yes, I know exactly that situation. 100%. I know that situation.
I don't want to say like back when I was drinking, because I've just recently started like not consuming alcohol, which has been great. But what I will say is, one time I was on an airplane, and I was getting ready to get on an airplane, and one of those happened, and I had maybe a few too many cocktails while I was waiting for my layover. And so I decided that I'd really mess with them. And instead of getting mad or doing something like I can hear you, or like there's a person attached to this beard, I started fake crying. And I looked at him, I was like, there's a real person with feelings behind this beard. And like, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I'm just messing with you. But that was super rude. You shouldn't do that.
That's great.
Like,
that's great. I just hit him
with her for like about a second. She was like, oh my God, I made a bearded man cry.
She peed herself a little bit.
Oh, it was great.
Mine, I say, well, it's my moneymaker, so it's staying. And that's just what I say to them. And then they're like, what? And then they're super interested and they're mortified. Like, oh my gosh, no, that's so cool. And then I like what Gary says here. You don't like beards and mustache? Don't grow them.
Yeah. Don't grow one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like simple. Yeah.
Super
Corey
easy.
said that happened to me at American Eagle the other day. I just looked and smiled. Yeah. Defeat the stereotype. Just smile.
Yeah. My other favorite one is I look at him, I'm like, yeah, me neither, but I'm ugly under here, so I don't really have a choice.
I can't spoil it, but I filmed a video today about a famous movie, and the actor, when the movie started, the money people, not the creative, but the money people demanded he shaved his beard. And they had a couple of interesting reasons why. And I go and make this whole video about it and just how ridiculous it is. And one of the main things the producer said was, we don't want to hide the leading man's face. I'm pretty sure the beard is a part of his face. I don't think we ever talk about hiding the female's scalp with their hair. I don't think that ever comes up,
No.
I mean, you can see my face, so yeah, it's
like, well, we would do an updo for the gala, but we don't want to hide your pretty scalp.
Right. Don't use all those follicles that you are gifted. So interesting.
Weird.
Amber, thanks for sharing that. Many of us can relate. Now, I said I wanted to get to these earlier, and I defied myself entirely because we are 45 minutes in already.
And if the universe does what it's been doing, boy, am I locked and loaded with a good one.
And you guys will see me. It'll be one clip. I'm going to get it ready here. Okay.
So do one click, but just to get everyone anticipating it to try to drive the will this way, we're going to introduce a Cracker Nasty side character, and his name is Cool Breeze.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see what the internet and the universe will do. Just go on one click here. There was nothing set up, nothing here, no magic, no cords. All right, I think we're safe. I think we're safe on this one. Okay. So this was one I almost deleted. I'll be fully honest. They had put in World Series game, and that's all they put in. So, Nick, I'm trying to do. You're not a sports guy, so I'm going to try.
I did have to use the restroom. I mean, I'll be right back.
I'm gonna try it. So
I just don't watch hockey that much.
What's that?
So I just don't watch hockey that much. Kidding. I'm kidding.
All right. Do you know what the World Series is?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't want to be condescending, but I also don't want to set you up for failure.
I at least know that. We're okay.
Okay.
Nick just went, cool, football.
Yeah, right.
I love my wife.
So do you have any guesses who are in the World Series right now? You'd probably be right, actually. I will say that. You would probably be right.
I literally no. I mean, what is well, no one's going nuts around here, so I'm guessing the Red Sox.
Not Boston, but think of the two most popular baseball teams in history.
I mean, I don't know. So, like, is New York there?
The Yankees,
the White Sox? You know, we got the Yankees.
Yes, the Yankees are one.
We got the Yankees, and we got what? The Dodgers.
Literally, yes. The Yankees and the Dodgers are in the World Series. Yes.
Hey, see, I do follow sports, guys. Look at that. Just kidding. Had you all so fooled.
So, World Series, if you guys have any feedback or comments about the World Series, go ahead and drop it. I guess the most relevant one would be the Dodgers have a guy named Ohtani, and he's probably the most talented baseball player of all time. This last year, he's the actual real Babe Ruth. This last year, he was arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball and arguably the best batter in all of baseball. He did both at the top level. No one at all in our generation in the last 15, 20 years does both, at least at a high level. And he's possibly the best at both, which is pretty cool.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
People with that kind of talent. It's like Jill and I talk about it all the time. We see like artists do stuff and we're like, talented people.
Right. Why can all high-level actresses sing, and why can all singers act? Like you'll see this like normal actress, this girl, you've never heard her voice other than speaking, and then it's a singing role, and it's like the most beautiful voice you've ever heard.
You know, it's like partially, I would think like fire hose drinking, elocution training, and really, really expensive vocal lessons probably play a pretty good part in it.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
it can be rude. Like,
you know, Jill, you're right. You know, it is like, you know, go do that stuff on your own. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one, that doesn't make anyone happy that you can do that.
Yeah, geez. Like
Anna
me Kendrick's calm down.
Sleeping like a baby and waking up with no alarm clock. It's like that doesn't make anyone else happy when I tell them that.
All right, one click. Let's see what it does. Here we go. Oh, for sure, Nate, for sure. Okay. Oh, we're close to the nasty time. All right. Funny family superstitions. Does anybody in the chat have, whether it's your like direct family right now or when you were growing up, did you have any weird superstitions, whether it was holiday based or tradition based or sports based?
Is this like the big fat Greek wedding, like put Windex on like all of your wounds kind of thing? Like, is 100%. That the family? Okay. Family superstitions. Okay.
Yeah. Anything like the night before a snow day, you put ice cubes in the toilet or stuff like that.
I feel so bad for my mom because, you know, and she can probably attest to this. She grew up in a time where you had lots of like weird family or regional superstitions, right?
But she gave birth super internet, yeah.
But she gave birth to an engineer, and I one by one throughout my childhood dispelled literally everything that was not logical in anyone's life around me. That's what I did. That was my thing. I was the only kid that like went town to town and when I changed schools wanted to know where the encyclopedia was, like first thing, just so I could make sure I still had my ammunition to prove people wrong when necessary.
Love it.
So
love it.
I didn't grow up with any because like I wasn't a superstitious person. Like if something didn't make sense and I'm like, you said what to do what with what now? No, pickles do not remove rust off of bumpers. That's not a chance. That's actually a thing. So no. You know what? There's no way you can make a polka dotted car by putting baloney on the side of it and like taking off paint. Like that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like all the stupid things you hear when you're a kid. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going over. So like Nate says, eating cabbage on the New Year. He said he doesn't do it anymore, but okay. Chris purposely walks under ladders to manifest his own good luck.
There you go.
That sounds like Nick. Yeah.
Yep.
There was the classic growing up one that I think we all had where our parents told us we couldn't shower during a thunderstorm. I still have that where you feel like you're going to get like electrocuted from lightning.
Oh, you know what? I remember that one as a kid, and like they get out of the pool because there's lightning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that was a big one.
Oh yeah, get out of the pool. It's like, never mind the fact that there's like all these things that are way taller than the pool around the pool. Like I've yet to see a pool like built on like what it looks like the surface of a moon with no other object around it. That would be a path of lesser resistance.
Right. It's gonna hit the metal that is in the chair. That's in like
or the rail leading you down into the pool.
Yeah. And Leo says, a relative fled when my mother felt faint because you can't faint when you're alone. So she started feeling lightheaded. And they're like, run! That's a good one. That's a good one.
Telling someone that's about to pass out to go seclude themselves.
Wow, that's a good one.
I love that.
Kerosene for wounds. Whoa.
There you go.
Seed patterns to predict the winter. The Farmer's Almanac and all that stuff too. And who knows what's true or not, but that's interesting. Swimming after eating, waiting 30 minutes. Yeah. Don't swallow your gum. You'll grow a tree in your stomach. Yeah.
Oh, like don't swallow watermelon seeds.
Yeah.
Grow in your stomach or something.
Yep. No talking on the phone during a lightning storm. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one actually has some validity to it.
Back then it did?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, it did.
That would be wild. Get zapped through your ear.
Oh, yeah. You could get like a really good power surge way back in the day and get decently electrocuted through a phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, like if you go to like little does anybody know, you can test the end of an RJ11 phone cord jack coming out of a wall for a live dial tone by licking it, just like a 9-volt battery, except it zings a little more than a 9-volt battery. Don't go pulling phone cords out and licking them and sending me emails about it either. I don't want to hear it. I just told you not to.
I'm the guy when it says wet paint, I have to test it to see if it actually is or if they're lying to me.
Is it just sticky?
Yeah, is it just sticky? Or is this old? Did you forget to take it down? So, yeah.
Is it just going to take my thumbprint?
Gary says, ring around the moon at night means bad weather coming. So I grew up on a lake, Lake Michigan, and we'd go fishing. So I had all the little sayings and all the little different notes for weather. A red night sky is I don't even remember them anymore. It's like, pink in the sky, you will go. What are the sayings on those ones? There's something delight, right? Purple sky at night is a fisherman's delight. And we had all these things about like, what if this happened, this is going to be the weather, and this happened, it's going to be the weather. And we did like kind of live by those. Those were big ones.
The only ones of those I ever grew up with were like all the superstitions about like, you know, like I say, I grew up around a bunch of derelicts. So like my nighttime sayings on Kauai were like, you know, you knew when like when the banana leaves were blown a certain way, it meant you were going to be able to pick lots of mushrooms the next day.
Yep.
You know, so it's just weird stuff.
Yep. Red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. Yep. Oh. Yep. There it is. And then with some of this stuff, it's like, is there something to that one? Like, is there something about the conditions that create a night sky that's a certain color that allows you to be a certain weather the next day?
I bet you there are regions where certain things like that like could be doing something. The tide is high and so am I. Real nice, you know.
The oxygen outside is high and so am I. Chances are.
We live in a nice little drinking town with a fishing problem. So, you know, little gems like that are bound to pop out of us constantly.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I like that one, Jill. All right. Workout music. So this one was from Max. We'll keep this one quick. Nick, what do you listen to when you work out?
Metal.
Okay. I knew that.
Yeah, and honestly, like lately it's been like Boston hardcore, not even metal. I've been like listening to like hardcore. It's been like my thing because it's like it's also motivational. Like it is like you listen to like Hatebreed. it's like listening to like a Tim Robbins speech, Tony Robbins speech, like for like a half an hour listening to one of his albums. It's like, don't let people around you knock you down. Like, don't let them like, I used to be worthless, but I don't care if anybody sees that I'm not now. It's like all this kind of, it's like it's like you listen to the words of hardcore and it's like, wow, this is like it's like multiple albums of just motivational speeches. Like I've found that to be like my favorite workout.
Yeah. So I only listen to one artist when I work out, and I work out usually about 5 times a week, so it's pretty significant. But can anybody? I'm sure somebody will, but can anybody guess my artist in the chat? I'll highlight it once somebody does. But JB says, speaking of metal, did we talk about the new hoodie on the site?
Oh, we didn't. We talked about it at one point. Yep, we did. We have not recently though.
No,
not recently. We have.
We're
not.
talking
It's
about
it's a heavier weight hoodie with that cool metal logo on it.
Yeah,
a guy that does metal albums actually, does album covers. Reimagined our logo into a heavy metal album cover logo. So,
yeah.
I mean, are you going to tell us that you listen to just Drake listening out, working out? Is that what it is?
I only listen to Drake when I work out. That's it.
I knew it. I knew
100% of the time.
And it's like, I always want to make fun of you for it. And then I don't. And then I forget. And then we move on and everything's fine. But then, hey.
I only listen to Drake. He speaks my language. He talks about people hating on him. He talks about like being a little bit confident, arrogant, cocky, whatever you want to talk about. That's the mindset I like to be in when I work out.
It's not a bad mindset to have, to be honest. I mean, you should be. It's like everyone should have a little gestalt in their step when they're getting out of the gym. You're doing something good for yourself. You should feel like it.
Yeah. So I like that. I like thinking about a tropical house and living this good life stuff. So 100% of the time I listen to Drake when I work out. It's just a Drake mix and it's it. I like the talking crap Drake. I don't do like the singing and dancing and all that Drake. It's just like talk crap.
Okay. Well, that takes a couple bullets out of my clip actually. So that's good. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, but I've got a curated list where he's just subliminally talking about specific people the whole time.
I love it. And like I love that part about it. That's like the part of the message I love.
Yeah. Yep. No, I actually listened to it. So okay. Yeah, good question. All right. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. Let's see what we got here for
never got into
one.
Drake. You're talking about Drake like it's like hard drugs. I wish I'd never started doing dope.
All right, later, Jill. Okay. Here, and this one we'll end with, guys, but somebody wanted to know because there's a lot of pride on this stream specifically about just unwavering transparency. I mean, just the most transparency. And somebody wanted to know, is there a downside to being transparent? Because you are a unique company owner. You guys are a unique company, and you share more than anybody I'm aware of. And you have platforms to do that with the stream, which is now over 113 hours of unfiltered you in company.
I'm sorry.
Are there downsides personally, professionally to being transparent?
Well, so, I mean, yeah, I'd say personally, that's almost an equal column on either side. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I say it's brutal transparency. It's long form. It takes effort and sometimes in the face of aversion, you know what I mean? Because, from a business standpoint, being overly transparent, people copy what you're doing.
100%.
And people get ideas based on the things you've done. And I'm one of those people that just kind of doesn't care. Like if you're going to be chasing me and catching up, that means you want to follow me, which means that I must be doing something right. And I think of myself in kind of a leadership position when that happens, and it's not a bad thing to me.
Yep.
So I don't mind when people follow what we do because we did it first and we did it our way, and they're going to do it their way. So I don't really care.
100%.
That could be a downside, I suppose, for some people.
No, I think it is.
Could be. The other part is that it takes time, right? It's one of those things where omitting information to me is the same as lying, and so it takes effort to pull back the curtains and tell people the reasoning behind things, and it takes longer to give someone like an honest, detailed explanation than it does to just not say anything at all or give a very light, inaccurate response.
Industry standard talk.
Yeah, it is, and that's a lot easier. So I probably spend a lot of time, and energy making sure that we are abundantly transparent in what we do. And then personally, I'll skip to this one since we're at time here, but the personally, yeah, you get accused of talking too much, right? You get accused of talking at the wrong times. I mean, me personally, and I do that. It's not like I was saying accused. You get called out, I should say, not even accused. You get called out for sometimes there's being a little. Once in a while, my transparency is stronger than my sense of not wanting to be tone deaf in a conversation, right?
Right.
So sometimes, even if it's not a popular opinion or maybe not the appropriate time to voice my opinion, sometimes because of the lack of my filter, it's like when someone has Tourette's, like you don't get a chance, you don't get a choice of when the outbursts happen when you have Tourette's, right? And it's like I almost have like honesty or transparency Tourette's at times where, I'm digging my own grave. I'm talking past the close. I'm, doing all the things that I know in my head not to do. But like the thing that's inside of me that says like you need to make sure that like your motivations are conveyed properly, or else that person won't understand why you did what you did, even though it was wrong. And sure, talking about it and explaining it makes it sound like you're not apologizing, but they really need to hear the reasoning behind why you did what you did.
Right.
So it's compulsive for me. And it's not always a great quality, and it's not always appropriate. It's not always a good timing. But people very rarely have to wonder what I think about them, and they have to ever wonder if what I tell them is what's actually going on. If they, don't ask me questions you don't want the answer to, because chances are you're going to get an honest answer, and it might be longer than what you wanted, just like this one was probably. So
spot on. I could literally repeat everything you said there, especially about touching on topics like earlier when we talked about the comments. Rule of thumb as a content creator, you don't address negative comments and stuff. Well, if you're transparent and you want people to understand where your mind is at, you do that. Do you get accused of sharing stuff of your life, of being spoiled and rotten? Do you get accused of being cocky and arrogant? 100%. Those are all downsides of being transparent. However, I would love for everybody to have the full menu of me and then decide what you think of me rather than little bits and pieces.
It's a buffet. And one last comment to address here, Leo, a transparent security guy. Yes, my transparency bleeds into that heavily, and it gets me all kinds of funny feedback. Like I told someone in a boardroom 2 weeks ago when they asked me a question if something could be automated or not, and I told him no, that it can't be automated. And the thing that's in his brain that caused him to ask me that question is the same thing that caused his company to get ransomware for $10 million. Well, he changes that mindset. It doesn't matter what he buys, because he's always going to be looking for a shortcut. And guess what? Your attackers are not. And so it was, it lost me a sale at the meeting, but then gained me a customer later that week when he thought about what I said and realized I was right, and then came back and admitted it.
Wow.
But it's, that transparency absolutely bleeds into that, and it has to. Like I don't want to get myself into bad projects because I blow smoke up people's butts about how things aren't that bad, and then when I can't fix them, blame how complicated they are. Right? I'm going to tell them it's like, I don't know. It's a big mess. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it. I'll sure work on it, but no promises.
I could go on about that for a half an hour about fixing people's, oh man, and being transparent. And yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I feel that one heavily. I know exactly where you're at there. Same. And all of these things kind of to wrap that up.
Intentions.
Yeah. All those downsides we just said, I think if you and I were just having a conversation and I were to ask you or you to ask me, are these downsides? In the end, I would say actually no. I don't think that they are.
They're negative upsides, or they're negative things that actually bring positive outcomes.
Yep.
Because sometimes it's like you got to take your medicine. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No doubt. Awesome. And there's a lot of people that relate to it. It's probably why you guys are here. Your brains work the same way ours do, and you relate to it and you understand. We all probably have something that would be labeled, even if there's not a label for it yet. And it just makes sense. And hey, I like it. I like knowing where I stand with people. I like knowing the way your brain works and why you got to a certain conclusion. That I value transparency abundantly.
That's what made us become friends. Very, very first time we spoke.
Yep.
Little does anybody know that I actually rubbed Dan the wrong way when we first worked together, and he kind of did the same to me. And instead of going back and forth in email, I was like, can we just get on a call and talk real quick? We haven't done that yet. And he's like, yeah, reluctantly, sure. I was kind of like, yeah. And we got on, and I'm like, I just want you to know like what's behind like what you experienced here and like what actually is going on, because I feel like maybe I came off like I this or this or this. And after doing it, he was like, that totally clears that up. I had no idea that's what was okay. And then we started going back and forth, and it was literally me just being like, rip the Band-Aid off and give you the intentions behind what was going on. And all of a sudden we were both like, oh wow, we're made out of the same kind of brutally honest. Got it. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. You want to go build bunk beds and do karate in the garage later? Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
High five.
High five.
All right, guys. We hate to do it, but we are going to end on that note. Those of you that continue to send in topics when we do this on Instagram, thank you. Keep those going. I literally love talking about things that I don't know we're going to talk about. It is so fun. And it's such a healthy part of this company where there doesn't have to be all this sales and all this showing things. It's just talking. It's just a safe lunch place. If you come back and watch on replay, please leave a comment. It does help out. And we love to hear from you guys. We've heard from everybody in the chat today, and it's so valuable. But don't miss out on the community aspect if you watch the replay. So for me, Dan, I would like to say thank you guys for watching. We'll be back here next week, and I'll kick it over to Nick for the last words of today's stream.
Heck yeah, man. It's the last stream of October, believe it or not. If
Crazy.
anyone can see that coming. The next time we see you guys, we will be in the throes of November. So first of all, to echo Jill's statement, have an awesome Halloween. Be safe, have fun. Don't eat too much of your kids' candy. And if you do, just make sure it's the good stuff. You've earned it, and they didn't. So have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys next week on the 5th, episode 114 on the 5th next week, 1 o'clock on Tuesday.